All right, scoundrels. As you can see, watch, let's check it out. Look at that. We got it in worky. We got it in no worky. So, what it is probably, which I'm hoping it's not, but what it is probably is when that light burnt out because my voltage regulator went out, and that's of course doesn't regulate the volts coming from the charging system, so it burned out, it melted the factory light. I couldn't really find a Harley light just to replace it, so I could replace the bulbs. So I went ahead and bought that pair for, you know, just the cheap small Amazon pair. Decent lights. The only problem is they're hardwired. So running it back up through the fender where the factory wiring was, it's just hard with how they do their fender frame brackets here. They just cover up that fender frame and go over the shock, whatever these are. How they do that, and when they're hardwired, you can't just like fasten the light and plug it in. You gotta like run the wires all the way up and then try to reach in there. The right way to do it would be to take off the tire, get them tucked in, and put on the rear wheel. I'm sorry, not the tire, take off the rear wheel, but we don't need to be doing all that. We really don't. So hopefully it's up under here somewhere where the slack is. And I also need to cover this, put a bandana on it, or at least something, so if I catch any weather, that the battery and the contacts and all that are protected. But it's done it. Another time I had to pull it all back out and rewire some of the connections. It doesn't look like it's rubbing on the tire. I looked under there earlier. I got it zip tied pretty well. But yeah, let's get into it. It's training there. Hope some of them are Harley mechanics. Training like a cow pissing on a flat rock. Yep. Smells like rain. All right, for real now. For real, let's start. Let's just jump into this.
Just do it.
I'm just gonna do it, man. I'm gonna do it. I'm just gonna do it. I'll do it. Do some time lapsing now because we got some things to get off. All right, Tim. See y'all later. Looks like I found what was wrong with it. Of course, one of these wires got, which happens. I mean, that's really hazardous. Right next to where the tire spins round and round and round and round and round. So any gravel or dirt or any little stuff that you wouldn't even think of that gets kicked up, and there's nowhere to go. It bounces in that fender, and it probably got it. I'd use like a loom, like a wire loom. Like an 1/8 inch or a 1/4 inch, but the little holders, the keepers that Harley has on the inside of that fender to fasten this wire to the outside of the fender. Round loom wouldn't fit, I don't think, any size. Their heat shrink is good. They got good factory heat shrink here from the factory. But of course, once you have the hardwire lights, you got to cut that off and it won't reheat shrink. But that'd be the best thing to use, some really thick heat shrink. I think for me, I'm just gonna like triple wrap it in tape this time. It's just hell going back in with the rear tire on, but I think about triple wrapping and tape will be fine. Either way, it's my bike, it's not y'all, so whatever. So that's basically gonna be it. I'll time lapse the rest of this, but it'll just be resplicing this wire, heat shrinking the butt connector, wrapping it in tape pretty good. Of course, I'll check it plugged in from the outside before I go on with everything, but that'll basically be it. So I'll time lapse the rest of this and then get it posted up later. Also, we found out we're inducing my fiance on the 16th of this month, so Little John's gonna be running around in no time. Yeah. I wrapped it 3 times because this ain't no middle of the mall shit, boys. This is the real shit we ride now. Yeah, I may only have 5 gears and 2.8 gallons, and sure, it's a chick bike, but man, we ride the out of this motherfucker. I bought it in 2020 or 2021 with 1,000 miles on it. This motherfucker got over 20 grand on it now. We ride this motherfucker. Alright guys, there you go. Like I said, these hardwired brake lights, not a lot of guys have them, unless they were really on a budget like me. The cool thing to do is, if you do get a Harley factory and doesn't have LED lights, there's some even cheap kits on Amazon or whatever. Just get an LED little pop-in bulb there for your lights, and that'll save you from ever having overheat or burn up on you. That way it doesn't melt the light together like it did mine. But if you do have hard lights, man, it's just a process of taking all that stuff off and getting that wire all wound up and where you can run it along as close as you can to the fender and then up in there. These ones are even different the way they mount. They mount further forward than the factory lights, so it was kind of even tougher the first time I put them on, and then I had to do it again when I took all the tins off to paint them. But other than that, it's really easy. It's just dive into it and do it. And if you have problems, there's a bunch of videos on YouTube, including this one. Mine's not so in depth because this is not a mechanic channel. This ain't a garage channel. This is just usually just a riding channel and a lifestyle, entertainment style deal. Check out Wannabe Garage for all your mechanic needs. He's not an official guy either, but he helps with a lot of stuff. So